Hello and welcome everybody to That Random Model. And for today's subject, we're going to be talking about Accurate Miniatures 1/72nd scale Predator UAV. Now includes Hellfire missiles. I don't see any Hellfire missiles, but whatever. So if you saw the thumbnail and you liked my Predator reference, get to the top chopper, then you might like the rest of the show. Although if you've been suffering through and you got to this episode and you still saw the thumbnail and you still clicked on it, well, either that's on you or welcome, my friends, because this will be fun. So, unwrapping the Predator UAV. Now, UAV, for those that do not know, means unmanned aerial vehicle. Because, as you can see, to scale with a human, there's not much room in here for a functioning human. So these are actually drones that were flown by the U.S. Air Force. I believe they're still in service, and many of them are reconnaissance drones. They have these cameras at the front, as well as these other antennas for sending and receiving information. The battlefield. Sometimes they are used with Hellfire missiles as a attack variant. The attack variant, the official attack variant, is this is a MQ1, I believe, MQ1 or MQ8. The attack variant is called the RQ9 Reaper. So there's that. And if you saw the other side, you see that not a lot of pieces that go on for here. And we're and at 1/72nd scale, which is quite tiny, you will see that this is going to be a small. Yep, it's a small kit. Large wingspan. The large wingspans that you might see on the Predator, the Reaper, the Global Hawk. A lot of the long wingspans are good for staying aloft for a long time. Looking at the decal sheets, we can see a lot of tail markings for the small lower stabilizer aerial wings, whatever they call them. But you don't come here for the accurate verbiage. You come here for the fun. So these would go on you have your choice of different markings depending on which unit you're using representing. There's also CIA was also involved in the development of this. Development began in 1994, I believe it saw it. There's a mandate in the 80s saying that they wanted drones for aerial reconnaissance, research. By that time, they probably wanted to weaponize it as well because, hey, it's the military. When does the military not want to weaponize something? And I'm not throwing shade on anybody. That's their job. There's a big difference between someone who is warmongering and someone that's what their job is. So we're just going to say that what this is, and we're going to call a spade and go from there. So this shows the Hellfire configuration as well as the pylons for mounting this on the underside, and the placements for that as well. Gives you a light ghost gray paint job, which is fairly uniform. I'm sure a lot of people will paint this either one solid color or they'll put subtle camouflage into what they're doing. We are going to be doing this a little differently. I mean, this isn't your first day, is it? If it is your first day, hey, welcome to the channel. We love you being here. Welcome to some fun. So here's your different markings, your commander tail markings, and your tail markings. So getting back to the use of these are used. Not much on the other side. Solid white void back. It's kind of purgatory now. So much for Hellfire missiles. So getting back to the story, so Predator drones are usually flown from remote bases, either close to the battlefield, such as when they were deployed in Iraq and Iran. Excuse me, Iran, Afghanistan. Boy, that was a Freudian slip right there, huh? The United States is not involved in any foreign um, aggression toward the country of it, the sovereign nation of Iran. And if it is, you maybe heard it here first, but not because I knew anything. I'm probably the last one to know all this. I get my news from the TV, so and other YouTubers. So looking at the parts, I'm gonna say go out on a limb and say the wingspan looks about this long, right there, right there. That's hard hitting news right here on this channel. You got your propeller, your pusher propeller in the back, as well as your instrument suites, which are right here. Getting back to the aerial unit, you will find that a lot of these are manned from um, remote sites, either close to the battlefield or even as far away from the battlefield as the heart of the United States, places like Kansas and Missouri or something like that. I've seen some news reports that suggest that many people what they do is they man these on like a video game like interface, um, which is pretty neat looking, but it takes its toll on the operator at some point, which you have to go out to someone who understands what they're doing with some of these, and that's not exactly what they signed up for. But again, this isn't trying to philosophize. It's just trying to share some facts. Here's your Hellfire missiles, as well as your pylons, and of course the underside with the underslung tail ailerons. I'm sure those are ailerons. So interesting. Well, let's get to it. So one of the pieces fell out prematurely. It looks like the cone for the propeller. We're just going to put that to the side right now, and we're going to look at this. This is not the first time I've looked at these, seen this kit. I had one a while back, and unfortunately, my stash is in storage, and so I've got some. It's going to do now is we're going to talk about one of um, my favorite subjects, my favorite stories, as it were, and that is Robotech. For those of you who don't know Robotech or its Japanese equivalent, Macross, first off, you are missing out on one of the best stories ever told. This show dates back to the early 1980s, when it was released in the United States with English dub. It was released in 1985, which was after shows like G.I. Joe, Voltron, and the Transformers. And like many of those, it featured a military group fighting another military group with transformable jets, manned jets that would transform into giant size robots. What's not to love about that? And tell me. So, so that's first off. So Robotech, and again, I'm referring to Robotech. I'm not referring to Macross. I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to say, "Oh no, Macross is the best. Why are you hating on Macross?" I'm not hating on Macross. I don't speak Japanese, at least not very well. No, I don't speak Japanese at all. But so I really won't understand the story very well, especially with some of the themes. A lot of anime themes can be very difficult for a Westerner, especially if they're not if they're coming in with a different understanding of just knowing words and not really understanding some subtle subtext to some of the things. So enter Harmony Gold. Harmony Gold, for those of you who don't know, was the company responsible for bringing Macross and its English voice acting to the United States. Now, these were again this is the early 80s. These were dubbed, not subbed, meaning dubbed audio, not subtitled descriptions. And you've got your sides on both things that think that one is superior to the others. I don't speak Japanese, and I'm not really a fast reader. I'm not dumb, but I'm not a fast reader, and I kind of don't want to be bogged down with reading instead of enjoying the amazing visuals. So lazy American, I'm representing here. So, and of course, like I said, I was a kid at the time. I was in uh, Transformers and Joe and all that stuff. And so, show me the action. Show me what's going on. If you want me to read, I'm not being probably not going to be interested in it, reader. But it was an amazing story, and it left a very big. It was a show that was a. If you saw my video on the SU-27, the Sukhoi um, fictional pinkish purple fighter right here, then you saw me talking about Macross and Robotech. This is Macross. This was not in Robotech at all. This is kind of a prequel to it. But if you saw that video, then a lot of the stuff you've already heard before. Now I'm gonna sidetrack for a second. These were covering up these little they look like P-totes, probably for measuring airspeed and air indicator, stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and be careful with that as we're trying to put things together. And we're going to come over here. Now, this is a pretty small piece, as you can see. And we're going to just get kind of cozy with that. Second, try to get it all smooth over. And just get rid of that seam line here. Seam lines can really pull you out of what you're looking at. They're ungainly. They look awful. If you had millions of dollars of equipment sitting right in front of you and you saw a seam line across it, you'd want to speak to the supervisor. You know who you are. You want to speak to the supervisor. And I agree. I don't want to see seam lines in my $1 million production vehicles, or not even my TV or even my VCR. I want that stuff to be streamlined and looking really good and ready to go, and sitting nice on the mantle. So we want to take care of these seam lines pretty good. I don't know if you can see this too well. I don't have a good angle on my camera, so a little behind the scenes secret. I can see what I'm doing through the camera, but only to a degree. I only get a good shot. I have to look around my camera and get a weird angle on it. It looks kind of unnatural. My hands are forward and my head is over here, my head is over here, my head is down here, whatever. So also another reason why my pitch is lowered is because I've got my head drooped over and I'm trying to keep track of what I'm doing here. So, looking at how we're doing. Welcome to modeling. Pieces flying out of your hand and getting moved here and there. This doesn't have to be that pretty. It's not even going to be visible when you're done. This is, according to the instructions, this is going to be tucked into the fuselage or fuselage. I still want to clean it up just a hair. Get these pieces out of this place. When I was first getting into the hobby, I knew this guy named Bill. He owned a Hobbytown USA, and he was fantastic at building military miniatures, 1/35th scale. I don't know if he was in his 1/72nd scale, but he did a lot of World War II war dioramas and stuff. I mean, he could paint veins on a figure, and he'd detail it with maps and just everything you can think of. I don't remember specifics about some of the dioramas he did, but I just remember being very, very much in awe over him. And if Bill was watching, I don't think Bill is watching, but if Bill was watching, he'd get very upset on this slipshod job that I'm doing right here. He was very good. So I'd like to say hi to a fellow modeler out there, even one that's not watching. Hello, Bill. Loved your shot, and I loved interacting with such a good and talented modeler. So when we get it together, there's a little bit of, it's hard to see, I'm sure on camera. There is a little bit of a recess right there, and that's going to correspond with the little, I guess, divot is the recess. And excuse me, just one second. So the divot would be the recess part. The protrusion would be your piece right here. So if you can see, where was the shop? The shop was in a little place I used to live called Arizona. A little place called Kingman, and it was not too far away from Vegas. And I still have some friends down there that ways, but I haven't been there for a while. So that is that. Now it calls out do not glue, and I'm wondering, it says don't glue the side. I'm going to glue this thing. I'm going to glue this thing because I am in that mood. We are walking. And thank you everybody who's watching this live. I really appreciate you being out there. I really appreciate the support. And if you want to chime in and say hi, give me a little shout out to where you're at, we can do that. For those of you who know my passion of cars, you'll be sitting there looking at this thinking, huh, he's making a plane. And you're right, I'm making a plane. But it's okay. It's a nice plane. It's an unusual subject. I love unusual subjects. And I'm going to make it even more unusual because, like I was getting to my story earlier about Robotech, the beginning of Robotech, the events that start, a alien space armada comes to Earth looking for a piece of technology that got away, and that the United Governments of Earth and the alternate reality of 1999, an alien craft crashes on planet Earth, and the world is embroiled in a UN versus anti-UN forces called the Unification War. And when they realize that this there's a threat from outside of the atmosphere, they realize they need to call off their petty differences and focus on something a little bit more uh, important, like saving all of humanity. Well, in the beginning, when the aliens first get there to an unprepared Earth force led by the UN, um, the UN Space Air Force, whatever you want to call it, uh, or the markings on the planes all say UN Spacey. So one of the things that they did was they sent up a lot of first first strike and first defense aircraft. And one of the things that they sent up were drones called ghosts. Now these were space flying drones with nuclear engines and quite a bit of firepower. And at the beginning, spoiler alert for those that haven't watched it, at the beginning, the aliens just destroy everything that's sent after them. Not only including unmanned but also manned um, space platforms. And when I saw this sitting on the shelf, one of the first things I thought of were the ghost drones that were used in Robotech. So after I get this put together, I am going to paint it in a very anime style paint job that looks appropriate to the Robotech universe. And I'm going to take decals that I have from other Robotech projects because there are other Robotech projects coming. I've been working on one actually from last year. If you've saw any of my other builds, you might know what I'm talking about. I haven't announced which one it is yet, but for those of you who are watching, then you probably might want to check out the 1/72nd scale on same scale as this, but no direct. Oh, I could use it as a tender for this 1/72nd scale Rosenbauer fire tender, and to kind of give away what I was going to do with it, that was going to be a um, a military fuel tender and refill for the planes that are on Earth. So I've got it actually coming up with. I still haven't finished it. Story of my life. Most modelers will understand. Um, but I'll give you a preview of what it looks like before we end, because it is coming along nicely. I just haven't finished it. I've been trying to catch up with other builds and other things. I've got a new job and trying to acclimate to a new area as well. So not excuses, but for anybody who has a life, you'll understand that models aren't exactly the first thing that my first priority. In fact, that's one reason why I was late tonight is because my first priority, my family, needed to be fed. So perfect day to grill on a barbecue. And that's what we did. And they're enjoying grilled chicken right now, barbecued chicken. At least I hope they're enjoying it. I'm almost as good a griller as I am a modeler, and I don't finish things, as you know. So, but I have an active imagination. You just can't eat an imagination. Yum indeed. If you are watching live right now, first off, again, I want to thank you. And second off, no, I have no clue how long I'm going to be doing this tonight. I'm probably going to get the main body put together, which I thought was going to be the first 5 minutes of the show, or at least the first 5 minutes of actually working on this. So, ta-da! Now, got to get this piece prepped. But I probably won't be doing too much on this today. I'll probably put these pieces together, clean it up, and wish everybody a good job. I'm really apprehensive about having long formatted episodes. 18 to 20 minutes is my wheelhouse, and even those are kind of hard for me to finish sometimes, especially the ones that are edited. It takes me a while to do that, and like I said, I don't really have too much time as I did this time last year. So enough with the belly aching. But I do love my channel, and I do love my audience, and I thank every single one who ever gets to see these videos. And knowing that I have an eclectic taste in aircraft and planes and motorcycles. Motorcycles are coming. I've got a couple that are going to be unboxed pretty soon, I hope. Motorcycles. I did some scooters. I was wondering exactly motorcycles, but scooters, cars, planes, spacecraft, science fiction. I have an eclectic taste, and most people, have more than one taste too. But whereas a lot of channels will focus on one or two specialties, I like to do something a little bit more, something that kind of follows and flows with my tastes. So that random model means that random subject and that random scale and that random make. And if you've seen my logo, that random model also means, well, I'm sorry, the logo is actually an amalgamation of different logos that have been sliced and put together. When another thing I watched as a kid, when I wasn't watching Transformers and G.I. Joe and Star Wars, were things that were popular at the time. There was Miami Vice and A-Team, a lot of shows that were popular in a day, Equalizer. And one of the themes that they'd have every so often is they'd have someone who does a kidnapping. The kidnappers would leave ransom notes to tell them what their demands are. And the ransom notes were usually taken from the newspapers because there wasn't Photoshop in the day, at least not something that a lot of people did. So they would take all the newspapers, the different fonts. They'd cut up newspapers, and they would take the font. They'd glue them together to form a ransom note. Now, I don't know about you, but when I glue or tape, I leave a lot of fingerprints behind. So I don't see how that's particularly helpful. But it was a fun little nod to ransom notes from 80s shows. So that's my logo, or is a ransom note cut up of other manufacturer logos. So something I enjoyed doing, a little fun. I even thought about maybe changing it up to different fonts and logos every year, every couple of years or something. If anybody has a thought on that, let me know. Personally, I kind of like the one I've got. So if you like it too, do me a favor and tell me in the comments if you like that as is. Leave a thumbs up and share out this video because I don't know a lot of people's thoughts on the video until they tell me. And again, like I've said in previous videos, I don't like to ask for thumbs up and for comments unless it pertains to the to that particular episode or build. So that is something I try not to do. Yeah, I'm looking at where we're getting down. We're at 30 minutes in, and I appreciate everybody being on as long as they are. I am going to tell you that this is pretty cool looking. This is pretty cool looking, and I'm also going to give you a little heads up of what I'm doing this. I'm going to just spoiler everything. So if you want a spoiler free one, come back probably in about 5 years when I finish this project and a couple others because yeah, it's probably going to take me that long to finish it. But we're going to keep working on this one over the next couple weeks. Hopefully we can finish it up pretty. I like to get a couple done. So we're the body style kind of similar. I think my initial plan was to take the ailerons and remove them right here and have them pitched up um, like this, just more like this, and kind of to resemble the Reaper. And then the other thing is taking the pusher propeller back and making this look like I think the Reaper, or there's another one that has a intake right here and a jet engine. Now this isn't for this, but basically something with a little nozzle on the back, or nozzle looks more like a plane. We'll figure it out. But that would be my guess right there. And like I said, with a more anime friendly paint scheme, I am actually thinking of a mainly a darker gray body than this, and a bright yellow kind of front, kind of a yellowish, kind of almost yellowish orange, kind of. This is kind of a bright yellow. It might be more like this, but it'll be a darker gray. It'll be this color or something similar. Not maybe not this specific color. This is Russian marker yellow. But something like that. With I like the color scheme of yellow and gray together, especially a dark gray. It kind of looks kind of cool, and it'll have it'll go with my anime theme. And then we're gonna get markings on it that make it look like a UN Spacey Robotech armed drone for planetary things, not for space. That's the basic shape right there. Now I'm gonna turn it over to Spirit sitting on the breaking these. And if you give me 1 second, I wasn't planning to do this, but I will give you a preview of the Rosenbauer Fire Tender. Rosenbauer Fire Tender. It this is what it looks like if you've seen. It's one of my first 5 to 7, I think, episodes in was that. And this is, get a little, it's a little dusty, it needs to be cleaned up, but it's not put together. I'll just put it together on screen, show you what I'm doing with it. The undercarriage has been assembled, the whole thing is the body and with the front. So for anybody who's seen this and is waiting for this to be finished, it is still in the works. I want it to go together pretty nice. I don't want it to be all screwed up when I'm done. And then, of course, be able to get a nice edited video. But this is my Robotech tanker for the Robotech size planes. Even though this is, in this universe, a fire tender, in the Robotech universe, it's going to be a tanker for ground-based Valkyrie and other fighters. And then this little hole right here will have a roll-up door with the Robotech emblem on it. So little preview of what's to come. Hopefully that whets your appetite. There's a couple people on my Instagram page that have been begging me to finish this, and I just haven't been able to get it yet. But I've been able to take some decals from other franchises and other things to put it together and make it look like what I would think a science fiction tanker would look like, and then just have that with some people on the ground taking care, tendering a jet, or in this case the drone. I might do a different diorama with this one because I had envisioned a plane to go with. Let me get that a little closer. A plane to go with the tanker. So there are things in the works. I apologize for those that have been patiently waiting for me to finish. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you so much for people who are not watching live but will watch this later. This is a fun hobby for me. It's not only the working on models, but also the YouTube side of it. It's a lot of fun, even though it's just me. Even though I don't have a lot of time to edit and put things together. That's one reason why I wanted to do a live show, was to keep me on track, keep me motivated, and keep me bringing out some content that some people might find interesting. And so far, I've got almost 200 subscribers, so hopefully I'm doing something right. Hopefully I'm keeping some people entertained, and some people just hope that I'm probably not on drugs. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Everybody is fantastic. I really appreciate everybody for watching. Whether you do it live, whether you comment, whether you leave a like, I don't care. But I appreciate people. I appreciate people watching. I appreciate people telling me what they think that what they would do with these subjects, or telling me what they would do with different colors and stuff. If you were going to build this and you were going to do it in a different setting, what would you do to it? Would you change the layout of it like I'm doing? Would you change the colors of it? Would you stick solely with the markings that are on here? I will be using some of these markers because it's gonna help to tie it into more of a realistic looking world. So thank you again for watching. Thank you again for the support, and enjoy the hobby. It's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it, and I enjoy sharing it with everybody. So thank you so much, and everybody out there, you're special. Have a great day.